Okay.
I'm gonna leave that in.
No, do it. I don't care.
Well, that was a movie.
Hello and welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon, that's Eric, that's Justin, and we just saw Dune, which is the new Denis Villeneuve movie starring everybody, but Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya, bunch of people. And in case you don't know what it is, it's one of the most famous sci-fi books of all time being turned into a movie. It basically inspired every major sci-fi that people know of. Obviously, people are going to talk about this and they're going to point out the similarities between it and Star Wars, and there are a lot. I was probably equally reminded of Mad Max, at least the new Mad Max. I haven't seen the old ones, but the one with Ron Hardy, there was a lot of comparisons to that, which now that I think about it, it's another desert-based kind of sci-fi thing or whatever. This isn't really, like I said, it's a sci-fi. There's nothing really sci-fi about it. It's like fantasy because they never go in depth with anything. It's just like we've got this magical voice thing that we talk about but never explain. I really felt like I didn't know anything about this world when it was all said and done.
Hey man, but they got the spice that helps get them safe somehow.
Yeah, okay. So they're talking about the hot commodity on this planet, which is why they go there, is there's this spice, which is essentially a hallucinogen drug. And it's very expensive. It's very hard to get anywhere else, I guess, but it's just on this planet. And then the pilots specifically take it to go fly you. And I'm like, this doesn't sound like a great idea. We're going to go into an asteroid field. We need to spice it up a bit.
So help me focus.
The directing was good. I thought all of the acting was really good too. The only complaint I had, honestly, was the main character. Timothy Chalamet, he's a good actor in the right role, but at times in this, it felt like he was doing like, I don't know what the voice he was trying to do was, but it almost sounded like he was like trying to do like this sexy, raspy voice or whatever, and it was so obnoxious.
That's how he commands you.
that opening scene when she's like, you have to do the voice if you want me to give it to you. I'm like, what are we talking about?
I did enjoy the sound effect for the voice that they used.
You could complain about different aspects of like the storytelling, how it was told though from a production standpoint. Everything about it was beautiful. The CGI was really good. The acting was really good. The effects were good.
The music.
Hans Zimmer is just amazing. And like I was mad at him for not doing Tenet, but then I heard this and I was like, I get why you wanted to do this instead. This was awesome. So yeah, no, it's like I don't really have any complaints, even though like it's slow. I didn't think the pacing was bad. I didn't think the editing was bad. Honestly, when it ended, I was a little bit shocked because I knew how long it was and I thought it was going to keep going and it didn't. So I don't really have any complaints from like a production standpoint. My biggest complaint was just the confusion aspect of exactly what was the point of it.
They got to get into it in the next ones if there's another one. But
right, and I hope they do. I hope they do.
So do I. But I feel like they could only get better. They're going to get better. I feel like they could.
Unless Villeneuve doesn't keep making them, and then
we'll get J.J. Abrams, and then
we could get Ryan Johnson. He'll come in.
Yeah, Ryan.
Or you know what? Let's just bring David Lynch back.
Yeah,
he'll do great. Did David Lynch read the same book that Denis Villeneuve read? I don't think he read the same book.
This is really dumb. But anybody notice how like what was his name? Timothy Chalamet. Is that his name, right?
Chalamet.
Every time they showed him standing from like a distance, his feet were so spread.
Yeah,
like it was a distracting. Like it was every scene. Every time he was standing.
Yeah,
hit that 45-degree angle.
He was trying to do, I think, like this royal powerful pose, but it looked like he was just like his balls were sticking to his leg.
It's like I should have powdered up before this scene.
We got some desert.
These scenes in the desert are really hot.
I did say that like I felt like I didn't fully understand the world when it was all said and done, but I enjoyed the little tidbits that they gave you here and there. Like some of the technology didn't make any sense, but some of it was really cool. Like I enjoyed the suits that recycled the water and stuff. I was like, that's a cool idea. The spacecrafts, even though they made no sense at all.
No, they look cool.
They were cool.
They
were really cool designs. It was more like Avatar than anything else, but it was cool.
I do not get those force fields at all.
Yeah, that was kind of lame. Like it's like they weren't force fields; they were like resistance shields. Like it's like it'll stop it unless you really want to hit it.
I don't get what made it red, what made it blue.
Well, I thought was like when it was penetrated. That's how I thought.
Not only were people wearing these force fields, but it was on the ships too, and they were dropping these like death charges onto the ships, and the force fields were doing literally nothing.
They all seem like they're designed to destroy that stuff.
It just slowed it down. down. And it's like, if that's all you can do, that sucks. Because in every other science fiction movie I've ever seen, force fields are way better than that.
Did Aquaman shave mid-movie? Like, did he have a beard in the beginning?
When he came back from the desert, he had the full beard, and then he shaved like off screen for the rest of the movie.
He should never shave. Like,
I've never seen him shaved in anything he's been in.
It was bad.
I didn't even notice.
He looks just like a professor I had in high school. Exactly the same.
Your professor sounds both intimidating and hot.
Listen. I'm not saying I found him intimidating and hot, but the word, intimidating, sure. But
some people may have.
The same build, same face when he was shaved,
Never
too.
wore shirts.
He was always walking out of a lake. Always coming out of a lake.
Tattooed like crazy.
Dolphins all around him for some reason. I never understood it.
The more people I add to First Thoughts, the harder they are to edit. Dude, when I do First Thoughts by myself, it takes 15 minutes. When I do one with both of you, it takes an hour.
Gotta work around our defects.
We'll get there eventually.
Just like the shields. You don't prevent me from making First Thoughts. You just slow me down. But no, I was shocked with the whole introduction of the voice. Like, I had no idea what they were talking about.
Yeah.
But
weird.
I do appreciate it somewhat, because some of the exposition they had was rough, because at times you could tell they were like, we have no other way but to just say this. So we're just gonna tell you what's happening right in front of you, and you go, oh, okay. So whenever they could get away with just showing and not telling, I did appreciate that, even if it was a little bit awkward at times where like you're playing catch up a little bit. That makes it almost feel more real in a way, because everybody's accepting it and just going with it. But it does ask a lot of questions. Like, I guess her race, his mom's race, they're all like some sort of superhero Jedis or whatever,
right,
and then they're not supposed to have a son, but then if they do have a son, then he's the chosen one, but not necessarily, but he's more likely to be. But you can have multiple sons, because there was another backup plan that they mentioned.
Oh yeah, he wasn't
definitively the chosen one, but he could be.
Yeah. They had some other options in the world.
In the Lynch movie, there's like a 5-minute scene of a lady who just appears on the screen and just explains stuff. Because like the original one, like if you haven't read the books, it's really hard to understand what's going on. This one did a much better job of making it able to like actually watch this and have an idea of what's going on in the book.
Because it's hard to understand the intricacies, but it was easy enough to follow as a whole, because the core of the story is simple. It's good guys are being killed by bad guys, and now there's a chosen one, maybe. And that's all you really need to know. Everything else is interesting and makes it feel like a better told story, but that stuff, it doesn't need to be spelled out, and so they didn't. And I think that will deter, like, I don't think it will be as popular among the general audience, but people that aren't going to be annoyed by that as much will enjoy it more. Like, I think critics will probably enjoy it more. Well, actually right now, last I checked, IMDb had a higher rating for it than Metacritic did, so maybe that's not true, but I don't know. Speaking of which, do you have off the top of your head a rating? Because I don't know if I've pinned one down yet.
No. Even though I didn't love it, I still enjoyed it, and there's something about it that I enjoyed that I kept making me want to watch it. Even the first one, I mean, it's campy as all hell, and it's the special effects are cheesy. Right, but there's something about it that grabs me, like, it was interesting.
Right, well, you would think this is setting a lot of groundwork, which is hard to do, because you have to establish so much that it can come across as boring, and you can't get to the big payoff moments, and so they have, like, little payoffs throughout here, but, like, this movie was setting up for every future movie, so you would certainly hope that he can make the other movies, because he didn't really get to do anything big and over the top and fun with it.
Definitely got to give him at least one more, just to show what's next.
I can't really commit to an exact rating yet, but my first thoughts are like a 7-ish, because part of it taking itself seriously was cool and I enjoyed that. But we were making fun of little things throughout it that were like inconsistencies, or things that just, they would say one thing and then do the opposite. And it's like, if you're going to take yourself that seriously, then you have to actually follow through with those little things, or it gets frustrating. If it's a campy movie, if it was Star Wars and it was doing those things, it would be part of the appeal almost. With this, if you're going to take yourself that seriously, you can't mess up like that. So I can't say that this isn't going to be like the movie of the year or anything like that, which is what I was hoping it was going to be.
Hopefully one of these movies released this month will be, though.
I'm still holding out hope for Last Night in Soho, but honestly, I think the best movie of the year came out in January because that was The Father, and I don't think anything's going to beat that if I'm being honest.
Clearly, it's going to be Halloween Kills.
Well, all right. Well, that's what we had to think, spoiler free. So we're going to get into spoilers now. So if you haven't seen it, you don't want anything spoiled, you should click away. But before you do, please like, share, subscribe if you're new here. Bye.
So the dad died.
Because the stupid shield didn't work. Was anybody else surprised how little Zendaya was in this movie? I thought
because
she was
advertised
like a
her to be
main
so
character, and then she wasn't at
I
all.
get she's going to be in the franchise if it gets made, but I assume she'd be in
If
a
the
lot
franchise
more.
gets made.
I'm really concerned the casual fan is not going to be into this movie. Like, I don't see this being a hit.
Yeah, I kind of wish I had seen this movie, you know, when they were 2 or 3 deep, and I could get the rest of the plot too.
Right.
Yeah, I don't mind that they ended it without solving anything because, you know, they want to do, like, more.
They're building up to more,
But it
but-
just was a weird spot to end it because that whole, like, fight and stuff had nothing to do with, like, the drive of the story, right?
Yeah.
So it just felt weird to end it there.
What
They
is the
should've-
drive of the story?
Well, they wanted to
if
get
they
to
want to
the,
overthrow the evil emperor because they're part of the rebel base, right?
Yeah, but they got to get to the.
On
I mean, I guess were they
Tatooine.
what were they called? Not the feeders.
know.
They named them a bunch of times. I'm
You
just-
asked me to pay attention, dude. I didn't know what the story was.
Yeah, but you know, you're the guy that always remembers stuff.
It's
I'm the
like-
guy
I
that
was
doesn't remember 5
struggling,
seconds.
man.
It's like the Emperor sent them to this world under the pretense of them mining the spice, but instead it's just all a trick to massacre them.
Yeah.
Right. Is the same emperor the same guy that's the big slug man? Is that the same
Yeah.
emperor that gave it to them?
I think so.
He gave it to them so then he could take it away from them?
Yeah, so I think maybe because I just remember one line they said that like they fought for their home world through like air and sea superiority. So maybe they're really strong on their home turf.
Oh,
and
so
he
it
took them to
wasn't
the
about
desert.
it wasn't about taking the desert planet. It was
Just
about
taking them away from,
taking
Yeah.
power, or taking the control away from.
I think the whole plan was to kill
Oscar
them
Isaac.
and just like get them on this land where it might be easier to kill them. But I'm not really sure.
Something tells me that that's correct.
You guys like the Baron? I thought he was cool. I like the flying thing is interesting.
Yeah.
So
The
yes,
hovering thing. I think.
I thought he was a worm man.
Same. I like
Okay,
that so
okay.
much more.
I was bummed out when I found out he wasn't a giant worm man. Because he had the long flowing rope, so you couldn't tell if he was floating
Yeah.
or if he was standing up, and then he had that electronic spine thing, and I was like, I don't know what's going on with him. Sure, he could be Jabba the Hutt mixed with Palpatine. I don't know. There's so many things that Star Wars borrowed from this. I was like, I don't know where it ends.
When they had the dad in the chair, like naked, like this was uncomfortable pose. Like,
I thought he was gonna cut his balls off because he was like,
He said
"We're
right
gonna
here with the
end
knife.
your bloodline here." I'm like, "Oh no!" And then he just died. I'm like, "That's better. Let him die in peace." I will say though, and it's not the fault of the story because the story is old. But a problem whenever you have an old classic like this, like you saw it too when Lord of the Rings got adapted, where it's like it almost feels at times that it's doing cliche things, but in reality, it did it a long time ago, and it helped invent those cliches. So when it's like you've got the doctor betray them, and then he gets betrayed after betraying them, so he did it for nothing. It's like, duh, that was the most predictable thing in the world. But like, I think you have to give it the benefit of the doubt of like, this is an old story that's now just being brought to the screen, so you can't be mad at it for doing cliche things like that. They had the deaf bodyguard there, so they couldn't sign to each other, and like I felt like it was going to lead up to something, and then they just killed everybody. I was like, so that was pointless, other than she couldn't use the voice on him, but she just used the voice on the other guy to kill him. So like I felt like there was a lot more to a lot of these scenes that they were hinting at that would have been interesting or something cool in the book, but because we kind of just skimmed over it, we only got to see references to things.
She definitely said one of them was deaf, making it seem like it'd be a lot harder for them to escape.
Like it seemed like this is an important plot point,
they
but it won't matter in 30 seconds.
We'll just get the other guy.
it almost felt like their whole sign language thing was building up to that scene. It just went nowhere.
It's that one line.
Also, talking about stupid things, because we can actually talk about it now. The walking made... They say you can't make a rhythmic sound because it attracts the worms, because the worms got nothing better to do than hear somebody walking 3,000 miles away and go, I'm going! So you can't walk. You have to do a little shuffle step. But the shuffle step is just as rhythmic. Like, it looks more rhythmic because it's like a dance almost.
Yeah. They
And-
even called it dance-like move.
Yeah, and they did it all of 1 second, and then it never mattered again. At the end of the movie, the very end, you've got about 12 of them all walking in a single file line, like marching, and
None of them
Didn't
were-
matter.
None of them
not
were-
Didn't matter. Really, the only time they did it was right after they mentioned it. They did it like one step, fell up the hill.
Yeah.
Or the dune, and then a second later they did it once. And then they see the worm coming. Instead of being silent and like laying down or whatever you're supposed to do, they start sprinting in a straight line. Like, you're a moron. You're just stupid. Like,
But they weren't running in rhythm or anything, so.
it's pretty rhythmic. That was my least favorite part of the movie.
Yeah,
Because like
the
you
walk
set up
and stuff.
something that was obviously supposed to be important and then completely neglected it. For
It's
the
just too
rest of
hard for the
movie.
actors to do. I can't remember
they
these
just couldn't
6
get it
steps.
down.
Oh, that was frustrating.
In the fight scene with Aquaman when he locked them into the room to save him, I thought some of the fighting was a little cheesy.
The fight choreography was mediocre. It wasn't bad enough to be distracting, but none of it was entertaining.
No,
I'll put
Yeah.
it that way.
The army clash was distracting to me. It was just a bunch of colors going around. Blues,
Colors?
reds.
Okay, what, the shields?
Yeah,
I was
the
gonna say
shields.
it was gray versus black.
Yeah, no.
I was like, who's who?
As soon as they hit each other, it's just blues and reds, and I just don't know what's going on anymore.
Can we have bad guys that don't look and sound evil? Like, they're all wearing all black, they all talk like this, and they're chanting and having sacrifices. Like, why can't they wear pink? Why can't they talk in, like, something romantic sounding, like French?
Hey man, Batista doesn't wear pink.
Speaking of Batista, like, not by no means is he like a great actor, but I'm pleasantly surprised with his abilities. Like,
He's not honestly that bad. If
like
he's
that's
given,
what I mean for a wrestler. I was thinking like, dude, John Cena bad or like
Yeah.
or Stone Cold Steve Austin bad.
Cena's gotten better too.
Yeah, he has.
As long as he's in a comedy, he's fine. And I
Yeah.
think for Bautista, it's similar. He either has to be being funny,
Yeah.
or he has to be an emotionless character.
Yeah,
And this,
so-
he was being emotionless,
Yeah.
so it worked fine.
Right.
And like I said, the whole cast, other than the occasional Timothy Chalamet thing, was really good. I said that this movie didn't have any like big moments in it, which kind of made it feel anticlimactic. I think the biggest moment, like the most interesting scene in the whole movie, was the hand in the box scene, which unfortunately is like 15-20 minutes in. So it's like you had your most interesting moment at the beginning of the movie, and then nothing ever really lived up to that. The muted colors didn't help, because like when you've got these big action scenes, everything's muted. Like I
Yeah.
said, it's dark gray versus black. Who's who cares? It was hard to get invested into some of the things because of that, I feel like.
Well, some of the characters in general were hard to get invested into. There wasn't much character.
There wasn't much
development.
personality.
Yeah.
They had their trait. I'm the main soldier.
Yeah.
Everybody follow me. Oh, we're
Right.
dead now.
Yeah, I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm the chosen one. Really, there was very few characters you really cared about at all. I like when you make characters die, because it makes it more interesting. Because like when you kill off main characters, it's supposed to make you more invested, because you're like, oh wait, actual important characters can die. But when like you're not even invested in the main character, it's like I don't care when people are dying. If Timothy Chalamet had died at the end, I would have been like, that's shocking, but you know what? Okay. I wonder where the plot goes from here.
Maybe they could kill him and then the baby could take over. The next movie will be like.
Oh yeah, I completely
Yeah.
forgot about the
They mentioned
baby.
it
We
once
glossed
and-
over that
yeah.
so quickly.
Did Dad even get to know? Did she get
I don't
around to
think
telling
so.
him? Because she was going to
She was
tell him,
gonna
right?
tell him, and then he said, "No,
something happened.
don't
yeah.
tell me. I'm sleepy or something." Whatever he said. I need to go to bed, but I don't want to take sleeping pills because I don't want to go to sleep
Yeah.
like that.
Like, yeah. I was like,
What does that mean? Like, no, not like that. You must massage my forehead until I fall asleep. Okay.
I demand it.
And they weren't married, by the way.
Right. Like, what is that? Like,
She was a concubine.
Yeah, I don't know what.
They didn't even try to explain that. You think that they're husband and wife for the longest time. He goes, I should have married you. And you're like,
that knowledge should have been dropped in like the first 10 minutes.
What?
So we know. Like, it's like
or
more than halfway through the
written
movie.
out completely because it didn't affect anything.
right. Yeah, that line didn't even
Hey,
matter.
you say that now, but movie 4 when the queen comes in.
I mean, I guess that's true. That makes her not royalty. And it skips right over her and makes the son royalty. That's the only thing that I can think matters about it.
I figure she'd be skipped over anyway.
Interesting. I'm solving a puzzle here.
I think Darth Maul should make an appearance in the next one.
Yes.
No, he can't show up
Combine the
until movie
universe.
4. Bautista's gonna turn good and he's gonna kill Big Slug Man. That's not actually a Slug Man, unfortunately. We're gonna have a reveal that Bautista's actually secretly been Chalamet's dad this whole time. It's gonna be wild.
And the plot twist will be revealed that that's Skarsgård the whole time in the fat suit.
I've been
Plot
method
twist.
acting. All right, do we have anything important to say left or are we done?
Important?
Was anything? Did we say anything important this whole time?
It's too open-ended to
It's, yeah.
narrow it down to.
I would still say I recommend it.
Yeah, for sure. And
'Cause
definitely in a theater and not on TV.
yeah, because it's meant to be an epic.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, somewhat of a hollow epic until we have context. Because I'm not saying it won't be good when seen as part of a larger series, but as a standalone, it's so anticlimactic. That's kind of the point. It's leading up to something.
And if it fails, it could just end that way.
Yeah. So, I guess we're done. Are we done?
We're done? We're done?
I slept through the whole fucking thing. 10 out of 10. Great fucking movie.
Great nap. This hair was excellent.